Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today's video we're going to talk about the new fusion that they announced yesterday, just I did not have the time to go over it myself. So before we jump into it, if we hear a little bit of noise, it's because I have my baby girl here with me. She's a little bit awake, so I might be taking some pauses in between this, but I guess let's get into it. So first of all, let's have a look. It's going to be this one. Going to be called the Incarnate. So before we jump into it, let's see what Raid has to say about it. So first of all, the fusion will start on June 6th. They're planning to launch a mixed fusion with the new champion, the Incarnate. What does mixed fusion mean? It means that we're going to give fragments to get the epics, I think, like, you know, just to get all the epics, and then those ones we have to get to 5-star, level 50, ascendant, and then those ones fuse into the Incarnate. So the fusion is going to be high elf, legendary, defense type, force. So in the world of Teleria, the Incarnate is a perfect soldier and an immortal being. The sole purpose of her existence is to serve as Arbiter's guardian and resolute warrior, a duty reflected in her skill set, which unlocks additional abilities when they're both on your team. Okay, she will obediently join your Arbiter in the arena or in battle against the Hydra. However, even when not paired with the Arbiter, the Incarnate remains a formidable champion on her own, capable of standing her ground and being a valuable addition to your roster of champions. We're gonna see about that. The Incarnate A1 hits an enemy twice with a chance to provoke on both strikes, which makes her a suitable candidate to provoke the Head of Decay. Additionally, when the Arbiter is hit, the Incarnate has a chance to counterattack. A2 will prompt her to attack all enemies, remove all shields, and one random buff from them. Following this, she will protect her team with a shield buff scaled off her defense. This skill is particularly useful against the Head of Mischief or heavily shielded enemies in arena. The Incarnate's A3 provides a reliable area protection and strengthen combo for all her allies. Also, she has two passives, each with their own separate cooldowns. The first passive grants the Incarnate bonus accuracy. So pretty much, I guess, like I know I kept reading, but this one just pretty much tells us the cat. So we don't have the usual like, oh, this is what's happening. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at it ourselves. So first of all, A1 attacks one enemy. Each hit has a 30 books up to 60% chance of placing a provoke for one turn. Has a 30% chance of counterattacking when an ally Arbiter is hit. Occurs once per hit. So I guess a 60% chance provoke on an A1 is not that bad. This can be pretty useful, like, you know, like they mentioned in Hydra, but maybe even in arena. You know, if your Arbiter gets hit, she has a chance to counterattack and provoke them as well. So, you know, that can be interesting. Then Formation Phalanx. This sounds cool. So the A2 attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when booked, removing all shield buffs and one random buff from all enemies, then places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. Develop the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. This one's on a 3-turn cooldown, and so it's an AoE hit. It can remove shields, I guess, in areas like arena, but I'm not sure how useful that's gonna be. And then if we don't see this part, let's say we think about the normal demon or clan boss, places a shield for 2 turns, develops the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. So depending how strong the shield is, it might be useful for, you know, a regular clan boss, you know, for standard demon lord comps where you have a killable comp. This could be interesting. 3-turn cooldown. Then the A3 defensive measures places an ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also places a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. So this one's pretty powerful for, again, the Demon Lord, for standard comps, considering it's on a 3-turn cooldown. Strengthen is one of the best buffs you can have in Demon Lord to try and mitigate damage unless you're going with an unkillable route, okay? So having the ally protection with Strengthen, I think there's not too many champions in the game that actually do that. Ally protect with strengthen. So again, I think this is more like if you're end game, I'm not sure this one's really good. Like for somebody that's early mid game, maybe if you're not easily doing Ultra 9 with clan boss, she can be helpful to bring a killable comp with ally protection, strengthen, and then some shields if these shields scale really high with the defense. But you would prefer to have somebody else that brings you increased defense alongside her. Now let's see the passive. Let me move myself to the other side. Increases this champion's accuracy by 20 for each ally under an ally protection buff. So let's say it's against Hydra, that's 100 accuracy. Can be interesting. When killed, resets the cooldown of Destiny's Call skill for any ally arbiters. I think Destiny's Call's the revive, so that's pretty interesting. there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, this effect will only activate once. That's on a 4-turn cooldown. So I guess this is pretty cool. Like if she gets killed and then Arbiter's in the same team, Arbiter can just revive her back, and then you know the cooldowns keep rocking. That's interesting. Then the ultimate purpose increases this champion's resist by 20 for each ally under ally protection buff. Again, 15 Hydra, 100 in Hydra, 80 in any other area of the game. This champion will also receive 20% of the damage of any ally arbiters if there are multiple champions on the team with this skill. This effect will only activate once. If any ally arbiter is about to get killed by a fatal hit, places an unkillable buff on her for 1 turn. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, this effect will only activate once. So, honestly, looking at it, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments below. But looking at the kit myself, it's cool. It's lots of writings, but I'm not too impressed, unless you're, like I said, early, mid-game, where this could be interesting for the sake of like a Demon Lord team, ally protection with strengthen and then some shielding. The provoke on the A1 is not as good for Hydra, especially if you're trying to do full auto, because you're gonna have to manual it. The removing of shield and placing a shield is not that impressive. It's just maybe for arena, but not as good for arena. Like where else would you remove shields? Like I cannot think. Maybe faction wars, but do we really want to go for a fusion that's just faction wars based? And honestly, the high elves have plenty. Like if you have Arbiter and what's his name, Apothecary, you're pretty much gonna clear the whole faction. Just bring a DPS and you're good to go. This is the only thing that I like about this kit. Ally protection with strengthened. So honestly, looking at this, I don't usually skip fusion, but this one seems a skippable one. Like I don't think I'm gonna do it, and especially because it's not a fragment one. If it was a standard fragment fusion, I would have gone for it. Let's read again. So yeah, please, the format of this fusion will be different, but already familiar to you though. So the mix type is gonna be, like I said, we're gonna have to fuse, let's say for example, it's something like, let me see, let's say this one was an epic. You keep getting fragments, like 400 fragments to fuse them into epics, and then the 4 epics you're gonna have to get to 5-star level 50, ascend them, and then fuse them into the Incarnate. So I'm really not that impressed. I think I'm 100% gonna skip, and I guess I'm gonna take the break so I can spend more time with my baby girl and maybe focus on some other stuff that I want to try out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you gonna do this fusion or not? I might still go and test on the test server. I want to see how big these shields are. If these shields are big, then there might be a reason, you know. If these are Valkyrie level shields, then we might have, you know, some really interesting stuff to do, especially because we had a Wixwell fusion. So maybe I'm going to try and make a clan boss team with Wixwell and the Incarnate and see how that one goes. But honestly, with Wixwell and with all the quirky stuff we have with Wixwell recently, like he's pretty much in a clan boss unkillable, a clan boss team on his own. So this one seems like a skip. Like again, original impression, I'm just gonna skip this one. Let me know what you guys think. So yeah, I guess we're gonna leave it at this for today, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.